Saudi Arabia are hosting the Club World Cup for the first time. The new look Al Ittihad will be joined by Pep City amongst others. So what can fans expect from the country hosting the tournament? And can the Pro League champions compete with the world's best clubs?
Hello there and welcome to Football Now. Now, FIFA's annual Club World Cup kicks off on December the 12th as continental champions from all over the globe make their way to Saudi Arabia to compete for one of the biggest club prizes on offer. Now, the teams have all been decided in the competition, so let's have a look at those involved and who could be taking that trophy home.
7 continental representatives will enter this year's tournament, with the lowest seeded teams beginning their campaign earlier than others. Entering the first round will be host nation representatives and Saudi Pro League champions Al Ittihad. They'll be looking to make an impact at the tournament after spending €120 million this summer on names such as Karim Benzema and Fabinho. Also joining them will be New Zealand side Auckland City, who won the Oceania Champions League back in May. They'll be participating in the tournament for a record 11th time. Egyptian side and current CAF Champions League winners Al Ahly will enter at round 2. They'll be competing fresh from their involvement in the inaugural African Football League. Joining them at that stage will be Mexican side Club Leon. They won the CONCACAF Champions League back in June. And Uara Red Diamonds from Japan, the reigning Asian Champions League winners after they beat Al Hilal in May. The winner of that game will face Manchester City in the semi-final, who are participating for the first time after winning the UEFA Champions League last season. In the other semi-final will be Copa Libertadores champions Fluminense. Having only won the competition in early November, the South American side were the last ones to be confirmed. Whoever progresses from those semis will face off in the final in Jeddah on December the 22nd as the new club champion of the world will be crowned.
Well, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City will head to Saudi as favourites after an incredible year for them. They became only the second side in English footballing history to win the treble in May, following their maiden Champions League win, which booked them their place in this tournament. It means that the Club World Cup is the only major prize that they're yet to win. So can they finally complete the set?
The Club World Cup's an interesting one. I feel like when you're an outsider, you don't really care for it as much. But when your club are in it, and I think there's a shift in momentum in, like, well, there's a trophy at stake here, you might as well go win it. And I always remember growing up, I always liked when you saw that badge that you get, the goals of it, and I thought that would be good to have on a City kit one day. And it's similar to the Community Shield in that sense where, you know, you're in it, you might as well, there's a trophy there, you get a special moment at the end of it, why not go and win it? You can call yourselves world champions, so, you know, champions of Europe is one thing, you know, champions of the world is a special thing that I'm sure City fans would love to sing if they can get the job done. Now,
it won't be news to many that Saudi Arabian side spent a lot of money in this summer's transfer market. The representatives in this year's Club World Cup for them are the Pro League champions Al Ittihad. The Tigers are one of 4 sides in the country to be backed by the Public Investment Fund, which allowed them to bring the likes of Karim Benzema, N'Golo Kanté and Fabinho into the club this summer. The big question is, what kind of challenge will they bring to Pep City and some of the world's other best teams?
So we've seen already from last year that Saudi Arabia with Al Hilal made historic progress in the last Club World Cup, becoming the first Asian team to make it into the final, where they did pretty well against Real Madrid. You know, it wasn't like a complete walkover at all by Real Madrid, and now you've got an Al Ittihad team that is exponentially better, certainly on paper, than that Al Hilal team because of the explosion in investment. So now you've got guys like Fabinho, Kanté, Benzema, who have been there, done there, won it all, including some of those guys are previous winners of the Club World Cup. Man City, I think, against any team in the world I think you'd even go as far as saying overwhelming favourites against anyone. But this team on home soil, I think they've certainly got a chance. But let's not discount the other team as well. For Ittihad, it's not going to be all their own way. Potential, I think, a second round meeting with Egypt's Al Ahly, that is going to be an absolutely incredible spectacle. You've got to get through that test first.
Yeah, it's not just on the pitch where Saudi will be judged in December too. For a lot of fans from all areas of the world, this will be their first time visiting the Kingdom. And with the country set to host the 2034 FIFA World Cup, first impressions matter. So what can supporters expect when coming to the country, and just how important is it to Saudi that the tournament is a success?
The football experience itself will be a little bit different. There's a lot of singing, it's a spiritual experience, it's a collective experience. That's one of the things that when I've been to Saudi Arabia, I've found most striking, regardless of what fans think, whether they attend or not. There's plenty of time to build up and win people over. And that's what Qatar did, I think, in the entire build-up to the Qatar World Cup. It was about, are the stadiums going to be up to scratch? Of course they were. Is the weather going to be too hot? Well, it was moved to winter. Is it going to be safe? It was probably the safest ever World Cup we've seen. And Saudi Arabia will adopt the same approach. If the Club World Cup can help with that, then great. And I think that, as we saw with Qatar, there'll be a real emphasis from this young Saudi population to maybe change people's minds about what the quality of football is like in Saudi Arabia and what the culture is like as well.
Yeah, another festival of football coming our way in the Middle East as Al Ittihad, Man City and others compete to win the Club World Cup. That is all we have time for on this week's show. Do let us know your thoughts at home using the hashtag FootballNowCWC, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.